Okay, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Focus Group. My name is Sharon Paul, and kama kawa tuko hapa ndani na Mwita Tuku Mwita. Today being the 6th day of February, the year is 2023. It's been a long day, but we are grateful that we made it to this very point that now we are coming live to you on our social media handle. It is 5 minutes past the hour. It is 9 p.m. ndani ya usiku. Be part of the family. Follow us, subscribe, leave a comment on our social media handles at Tuku Mwita Tuku, that is on Facebook, and Sharon Paul SP as well on Facebook. On YouTube, you can find us at Sharon Paul Media, and on Tuku's handle of Tuku Mwita Tuku. Bwana Tuku.
Yes, sir.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
It's been a long day, but here we are.
Yes.
Salamia watu pale nje, ueleze kumekuwa vipi leo hadi wakati wa sasa ndipo tunakuja hewani.
Thank you very much wananchi. Nashukuru sana kwa to join this evening. I know it's a new thing. It's 7 at night na ndio sasa tunaingia live. Yes, thank you very much for joining us. We had some work to do. As you can see in the studio, there is a new layout. It took some time. Ilikuwa kazi mingi, sio kazi kidogo. But we managed. And Bwana Sadakta,
yes, sir.
What do you have in store for us today?
Just wants to say a very big thank you to all of you for the patience that you've had with us. It's been a roller coaster of events since towards the end of last year. That was December 2022. January was bumper to bumper as we were trying to bring a new face to the studio. We are at 99% completion. I think towards the end of the week and a few days to come, we shall be coming to you now live in the best way possible. Kwa sasa bado tunafanya mic test. We want to see if our videos are coming very clearly to you and our sound checks are on point. Now, Mr. Tuku.
Yes.
Over the weekend, I came across a very interesting video. And this guy, I think, comes from some of the West African countries of Africa. So this guy was really lamenting, and the bone of contention on this video was the languages that we use in school and in our society. So I watched it, and I really felt the pain that this guy had, in the sense that we are, one, losing our culture and our heritage. Depending on which colonial powers we had in each country, utapata wengine wameongea Kifaransa, and English I think is the most and commonly used languages within Africa. And now this brings me down to our schools. What languages should be used in school now that we always have English and Kiswahili? I wasn't to put it as a question, but I think it is something that is very much debatable.
Mr. Sharon, first of all, let me stop something before you even go on with this conversation.
Yes.
Swahili is the main language that should be used in schools in Kenya. The reason I'm saying it is because, and I'll speak on the same, because you shared the clip that you shared this morning, and I watched in length, and it really got to me.
Yes.
The reason why these countries used to push these languages to us is because they needed to get away. It was a communication strategy. So basically they wanted to be able to communicate to us. Whenever they told us go dig there, they needed a way of giving that directive to us. That is why they got us speaking in British. That is why they got us speaking in French. And I even saw when our president was in Senegal the other day, it got really difficult for people in Senegal to communicate back because they were trained to speak in French. And I also heard there is African French. So this is very funny. You see, it's been 50, how many years? it's been 50 something years since we got our independence.
Yeah, from
but
1963
we still
to now.
need to drag this language thing up until now. There are things we used to call mondos. Sijui kama mlikuwa mnapatiwa kwenu.
Nakumbuka, I think every other region had a specific name for this.
For there.
Sisi nadhani tulikuwa tunaita disc. Is it? Ile kama umesema lugha isiyo Kiswahili ama English.
Hata sio lugha mostly. It was English.
Yeah, if you don't speak in English, you'd be given this disc. Yeah. And now, just to put some emphasis on what you've said, you know, when the colonial powers came, these people, we were like their overseas provinces.
Yeah.
And we were actually answerable to everything to them. So the Francophone, I mean, what they were trying to do was just to bring the French culture, especially this was in the western part of Africa. And then now to the eastern and let me say eastern part of Africa. That was for western and central part of Africa. Maana nasikia umesema kidogo ile Kifaransa ya Africa.
Actually, Felix Derio, thank you very much. I see Felix Ashani Kosoa akaniambia it's, what did you call it? Francophone.
Yeah. Yeah. And now back to our country, Kenya. Yeah. We were colonized by the Britons, so it is English. We have countries in Africa that were colonized by the Portuguese. I don't know how the communication is going on in those schools, but there is this thing that is really eroding our culture and heritage by trying to impose the languages of our Walambawali to colonize. And now, just as I said, this one brings me back to now what you've said. Monto.
Yes.
Si tulikuwa tunaita disc. Now, in primary school, shule za msingi, way back in the day, you'd find that there were specific days for speaking specific languages. Like, I think in our school, that is Homerville Primary, I think Wednesdays was a day for English. I'm telling you, man, communication was hell because you would want to ask for breaks time. Tumeenda bana, mtu amenunua mandazi, unataka kumwambia ni chunia kidogo bana. Kulikuwa bana, my friend. Mandas, mandas.
As you can see, up until now, it's getting very difficult for you to do it.
Yeah,
it's a couple of years since then.
It is not easy.
I can only imagine
how difficult it was.
How difficult it was.
And then now, bringing it, when we fast forward to now the current generation that we are, the current society that we are, and we're seeing that there are so very many openings. Now, if we bring it back to us, who we come from a research background, you'll find that there's a document that needs to be translated in Taita. A document, an English or Kiswahili document needs to be translated in Kikuyu, in Dholuo. Now, looking for people who can do for you these transcriptions become very difficult. And just to go back again, in school, if you could be heard speaking a language that you ought not to be speaking on that day, pia ilikuwa ni shida. In the current media space, we have very many vernacular stations. The other day we were making fun about one of the biggest players in the industry. They were unveiling a sister company. Now they were looking for vernacular speaking people. Sisi tulikuwa nasema mbuli tupatie disc bwana. Unaona sasa kazi zinatuacha.
Hiyo dream ilifungwa kitambo mali ulipatia ile disc. And SP it's very saddening to see that most of these radio stations that are the vernacular radio stations right now are the one making money.
Yeah, exactly.
If you look at the people who work in those vernacular radio stations, it's really difficult to come with people who can speak in I remember when we were discussing last week on our portfolio and you asked me, can you speak your mother tongue fluently?
Yeah, exactly.
It is very shameful if you have to ask someone if they can do their mother tongue. I understand. Nobody needs to do it fluently, but at least you need to speak a word or two in your mother tongue. You understand?
I get you.
It is not a must, but I believe it's something that needs to be there.
What I know, we shall never erode our ethnicities. And for now, what I'd always say is when our kids are growing up, we have that exposure at school, the online content and stuff. They watch a lot of educational cartoons at school. It's either English or Kiswahili. And the reason why I even brought it, why I narrowed it down to schools, the other week here in most of the WhatsApp groups that we are in, niliona kama mwanafunzi bali mwalimu fulani aliandika, please try and train your kids to speak in English. Nilitaka comment lakini niliona I was going to rub shoulders, you see, with people. But if you look critically well, the national language yetu ya Kenya ni?
Swahili. There is no doubt about that.
Yeah, it's Swahili. Even we had books way back in the days kwa imeandikwa Kiswahili kitukuzwe.
Yes.
In primary, when we were growing up, at least way back in the days, the mode of communication was always on Kiswahili.
Yes.
Sheng ilikuja kidogo, but Sheng will just thrive according to the surroundings where they are.
Yes.
English now has become so powerful that it's even taking away Kiswahili. Kiswahili, when it's being brought as a subject, inakuwa ni shida sana kwa wanafunzi. Hata kupata walimu ambao wanafundisha somo la Kiswahili.
And then again, Mr. Sharon, there's something I would like people to change their mindset on. These things called social clusters.
Yeah, exactly.
These things, you want to be on such a ladder that you do not belong in this social. And the only way people cluster those social classes is what you speak, what comes out of your mouth. You see, there are people, you'd say, the only way your child is going to speak in English is because they either go to Kilimani schools, some they go to Westland schools or such like. So if your kids go to some schools in Eastlands, they speak Swahili. And I think that is something we need to eradicate in this country. If you're going to be rich, it doesn't have to be your kid. Your kid doesn't have to speak in English for you to be rich.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to.
Exactly.
It is very shameful, SP, to see media houses pay people who speak in Swahili more because there is scarcity in people who can speak Swahili.
And even bring it down to mother tongue.
Exactly, to mother tongue.
Yeah, exactly. You see,
SP, do you know how much people, the same thing you're talking about, just to put it out there, the Ramogi TV. Do you know how people get paid?
Yeah, I know.
These people make a lot of money.
I know they
simply
go home
because they can do very good mother tongue. And speaking out there, a friend of mine was telling me that when these media houses are doing not auditions, what do you call them? Interviews for these people, you'll find that you need to be both fluent in writing and the spoken language.
Yeah, because you have to bring a news item that you can write well and present it as in the best way forward. Na hiyo lugha
yenye unaongea hiyo. So he's talking to one of the ladies that had applied. She speaks very good Kikuyu. She was auditioning. She was actually interviewing for one of the vernacular stations. She could do very good Kikuyu, but the spoken. Kikuyu, spoken. But the Kikuyu she did was English Kikuyu. Do you know what English Kikuyu? It's like, not about you're speaking the language, but the twanging in you is English.
Yeah, like...
You see, this lady needs to get employed and she really needs this job. You understand? And she can speak in Kikuyu, but she wants to show whomever is viewing her, I am not from that social class. You understand? And I think we need to cut this bondage because it is very wrong.
Yeah, this social stratification, it puts even our children in very awkward situations in the estate where we live, because children will be going to different schools.
Exactly.
High-end school, middle-class schools, and then kuna wale tu wastani wa kawaida. Zile shule ambazo wanaenda, they speak very ordinary Kiswahili. So when children meet, your kid cannot play with another kid from the other side because it's pure English na bado ni mzito kwa mdomo ya mtoto.
Yes.
And when this happens, you know, there's that inferiority complex also. You'll find that this kid does not get it easy to mingle with the other ones. So I'm bringing it down. I think even the last time that former president was in the not United States but South Africa. I think the president said I think kulikuwa na kongamano fulani kule mpaka the late Magufuli was there. They said from South Africa they are going to adapt Kiswahili as a language, and as time goes it is going to be the lingua franca for this entire region, from East and Central Africa going down south. Niliona ligusia pia kuna ile French ya Afrika. Hiyo pia iko
very disappointing.
Yeah, but you know now, just as you said, the social classifications of I'm coming from this region, or I'm coming from upmarket, and then when we come to the schools, it keeps some people off. Let Kiswahili flow.
I am particularly very proud of South Africans. South Africans try their best to do their own languages. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah.
South Africans will try. Yeah, exactly. they will crack their tongues.
Yeah, they can be speaking in English.
Yes,
but
they will slip in.
Yeah, they will slip in with their language.
Same with Somalis. Somalis are very comfortable doing their own language. You can feel Somalis. You can see the pride they have speaking their own language. You see, they do not shy off. Have you ever been to Isili, my friend?
Yeah, but
you've been to Isili, unaingia kwa duka and everything they're doing. You get to a plane and all you can see, you can hear Somalis speaking. Huko nyuma wanaongea wanapiga hiyo Kisomali vizuri sana, and they wear it with pride.
And they still do business.
Exactly.
It's not that when they're speaking in their Somali business na katika pana, you will be speaking wa Kiswahili, anaongea na hiyo bahali yake.
Exactly.
Na story inaendelea.
Na ndo maana nimesema Isili. You know why? Because it does not do you any harm being good in your own language. You understand? So in Kenya, if you're going to do a bit of vernacular, not even a bit of vernacular, just know how to speak in your mother tongue. Moving on, spread it with Swahili. Swahili is a common language because we need it, because you're going to speak in your mother tongue, you're not going to understand each other. Itafika mahali nyumba, kuna ile nyumba ya Bible yenye ilijengwa watu wakapatiwa lugha mingi.
Watu wakaanza kurushana.
Ikaporomoka.
That is nasoma Biblia.
Yeah, nasoma Biblia vibaya.
Kama hiyo ni Sunday school.
That is why we need Swahili. Swahili is a very good language, and we need to embrace this Swahili. You understand?
I get you.
Languages are there to help us do
communicate.
To communicate.
Exactly.
It's a form. It does not give you any validation for you to speak in certain languages. You understand?
Yeah.
There are people who do even 20 languages. It only facilitates communication. There's nothing more to it.
And then even to the job market, yes, easy. You know, you'll be told an additional, maybe a foreign language, an additional, or you can see how at times they advertise
Exactly.
the research jobs. Having fluency in a certain language is an added advantage.
It's an added advantage.
Yeah, for me, I know I can easily work very well in Nairobi's metropolitan. I can work very well in Nyanza. I go to Luo Nyanza and Kisii.
Yeah.
Sasa wakorogea kidogo hapa ni wabe gakia aba na minto togende tokore chikas. You know.
Talking of being diverse in language, I remember there's a time you gave me you were very frustrated. Ulikuwa huko Pokot.
Yeah.
You needed to work, but the only person who could do the job was the local. No, not the local. It's someone from West Pokot that you went. Imported from Nairobi to
we
the
traveled
place.
with you, exactly.
You see, but you couldn't find someone who's willing to speak the Pokot language from here. So the only person you got, na yeye alikuwa anakuangusha kidogo kikaze, si ndio? But you had so many people from here who could talk the language. Lakini they do not want to show you, mimi sio mtu wa Nairobi. You understand? They want to speak in English. They want to show you.
They identify.
I have a few degrees, so I do not need to speak in the mother tongue. You see? So that was employment that was there readily for people to take advantage of.
And now, I think somebody also said that being fluent in English does not portray what?
English does not translate to intelligence.
Yeah, useme kizungu yote, it doesn't show how intelligent you are. And it makes me wonder why anytime somebody flies to the UK, to the US, in 2 weeks akirudi mazeni kutrain.
They come up with a
mtu ataenda kusoma hapa India bana 6 years akirudi.
Anakuja na accent ya US. SP, let me tell you something. Yeah. Right now, anybody who lives in an urban setting, not even in an urban setting, anybody who lives a place they have access to media. Whether it's a television, the mainstream media, or it's social media, I can promise you 98% of them can speak very good English. When you tell them to translate that English into knowledge, what can you do with that English other than vocaling words out of your mouth? There's nothing else they can do with it. So English does not translate to anything clever.
Yeah, so
English, it's just a form of communication. So if we are able to accommodate and appreciate what we have, where we come from, because SP, there's a reason why we have there's a reason we have all these boundaries. And it is nothing bad with it. Isipokuwa ni politicians wetu wanataka kuchukua hizi vitu wajipatia a go ahead nazo. There is nothing much to these languages. You understand? We need to embrace what we are. Sindio?
Kabisa.
SP. Zile za yeye tunaonaka kwa movie cause Kenya ukweli kani mlevi wewe ni mlevi Kenya. Lakini nasikiaga wakiamka and you identify and you own up to it. My name is SP. I'm from Homabay.
Yeah.
I can speak very good Luo.
Luo, yeah.
You understand? My name is Duncan Thuku Moita. I'm from Central Kenya. I can speak very good like Kipia Kikuyu. You understand? And people need to be very proud of whom they are. And people need to hold this thing up. Because once we lose our culture, SP, I do not know whom we are.
Yeah, and that's the reason why way back in the day, at the lower grade learners level, we used to have the vernacular books. I remember in Dulu, we used to have some books like TKK, Onyango Genyange. And then they had very interesting stories.
Yeah.
Those stories were very educative. So in a way, I think they got eroded out. And then when we come to upper primary, now you'll get that Kiswahili now starts being the focus. However, Kiswahili will only come as a subject. All these other subjects are taught in English. I try to wonder how is it done in Tanzania? Do they teach chemistry in Kiswahili?
I think they have a way of doing it. I don't know, but I think, bro, look at Tanzania. Look at Tanzania. These people wear their language with pride. Did you see how Mama Suluhu spoke in Senegal?
Yeah.
She did very good English. Have you ever heard her speak in English anywhere else? She wears Swahili with pride.
Anytime.
She wears Swahili with so much pride.
And when she speaks in English,
exactly,
it's perfect. So I think, sorry for cutting
no, that's
you.
Fine.
I think what schools should also embrace, although we're not experts, but we stand corrected, you see, Kiswahili. Because you'll find somebody from, let me say, the private universities. Before when they joined the private universities, they were in the private schools, the GSE curriculum.
Yes.
They don't even teach Kiswahili. Mtoto anafika Form 1 cannot even express themselves in Kiswahili. And I remember when, I think IBC were looking for some commissioners sometime last year. There's a lady who presented herself. She was told to introduce herself in Kiswahili. I think she's even around 50 years. The lady could not go beyond Jina langu ni. And this is a very senior person who wants to hold an office, cream de la cream.
My friend, I'll give you a very good example. Go to Gigiri here, WFP, the World Food Program. I think there are some, those people employed with the programs. I think there are some programs you cannot get employed without having your own local language if you're from here. If you're from Nigeria, West Africa, you need at least to do You need to be fluent in one local language, your own language. So if you're going to be sent back, the employee with areas whereby there's maybe hardship or something. So at times you'll be taken back to your village to do some food programs or something, or coordinate something. So if people do not want to appreciate this, then I think we are lost. Secondly, SP, let me just finish on this point. The schools that we have, especially in Nairobi, and I'm going to say it again, especially in Nairobi, I think it is even very important for the schools to engage their students, their pupils with the local languages, some of the vernacular languages and Swahili most so. CBC, as we know it as of now. Normally I see in the US, if you're not very clever upstairs, then you'll get into colleges through sports and the like.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah. The polytechnics where you use your skills.
Exactly. Yeah. So in Kenya, we even are at an advantage. If these politicians need to create jobs, you see, instead of dragging people through English speaking from primary, you giving them montos, alafu ukikuja mtu akifika college ndio, hata college yenyewe hafanyi the vernacular, akishamaliza ndio radio station fulani ama TV station fulani inasema inataka mtu mwenye anaongea language, anaongea Kimeru. Well, all through you've been giving these children montos kwa class. You're giving them some very heavy stuff to carry through around their necks. You understand? We need at least to embrace it. And kitambo it was there, as you said. Mulikuwa mnasoma storybooks za Kijaluo. If we take a trend, even employment will be at a large volume. You understand?
Exactly.
Employment will be at a very large volume. So if you have one person working in a vernacular station in Nairobi, paying them 1 million shillings to do the presentation. Imagine that 1 million shillings. I'm not saying they scale down on the payments. If 1 million shillings, you opened up a couple of radio stations, a couple of TV stations, and 1 million shillings was distributed into 5 people, it's still a decent income.
Yeah, exactly.
Na bado ume-employ 5 more people. You understand? But now there's a whole filter that is filtering all these people sipping wanamwambia mwezi kuwa employed because you cannot speak this language. Lakini how do you expect me to speak the language kama umekuwa ukinibebesha umesema disc
kubebesha
all my life?
Yeah, and you could be seriously punished for having caught the disc.
Yes.
And then there are those very notorious students in class. Atakuja tu ati ana whisper kwako ndio Kijaluo tu ama whichever language.
Nimeona
ana whisper hapo ati hata nipatie kalamu in that language. Unajua ana whisper, unadhani mko na yeye, unasema ndo pencil ama raba, unaongea tu hivi na wewe disk kwako monitor shau kuandika. Watu wako wanavunjwa, lakini saa hizi vernacular TV and radio stations are looking for people to broadcast news in those vernacular. Utapata mtu bwana kwapo, lakini vile umesema the lady went for an audition. It's Kikuyu, but it's Kikuyu English. Afadhali hata yetu ya Inglo bwana, tunaenda hapo tuna chado tuna beto na na tunaingia.
I remember tukiongea hapa, a very good friend of mine anaitwa Mheshimiwa Ndongo. Michael Ndongo Wariara. Ni mheshimiwa kule kwetu. We were in the same class.
Alikuwa cha wapi man?
Sasa kama unajua ningekuwa saa hizi maybe ningekuwa Kameme ama Inoro, lakini sasa Kikuyu likataliwa. But I'm very good in Kikuyu.
Yeah, I know, I've always
I'm very good in Kikuyu. If one of these stations is looking to hire someone,
you are here.
Ningize. Yeah, I'm very good with Kikuyu.
We also just marketing ourselves.
Yes. So now there's this thing we used to do. Because the montos were very heavy. So normally what used to happen is kama ya spin yako na monto, when umesema ya piercing hapa unaongea pole pole. So you're busy doing your own thing ama uko urino. Alafu I do not know why Urinos in primary used to be very crowded. Aungepata urino
Sasa unajua I think the system could work at the same time. 50 boys at the same time wanataka kwenda choo.
Alafu they normally used to they could reach up until a certain point.
The level of the neck.
Yes. Yeah. So I was very short.
you still are.
Singeona the other side. So these tall boys, sijui kwa nini watu wakubwa wa shule walikuwa na tabia mbaya, ndio walikuwa wanabeba hizi montos. So whenever they had montos around their necks,
the discs, huh?
The discs now, yeah, whenever they had them around their neck, kwa urino tutaendanisha home. So you are there, wako na plot na mwenye kwa ile side nyingine mwenye amebeba muntu, wewe na yeye
unajibu
si tu kwa urino tutaendanisha immediately. Hata they do not need to come around because you're very short and they can reach you on this side. Unavalisha so it was a pass along game. it was
but you see those who took up the vernacular languages, and we never forget about them. Are earning some decent pay wherever they're working, and even in the research industry. If you can just get a translation, somebody wants to transcribe an audio from a specific language to a native language. I know it slightly pays way much better than when it's English to Kiswahili, Kiswahili to English.
Yes.
Let's embrace these languages and get to see how we are not losing our heritage, our culture, and most specifically,
tusipotoke na tusipotoshe hao watoto. Tusipotoshe watoto. Let me tell you something. With the current times we are living in, if you think giving your child English throughout and denying them inaitwa kuwanyima Kiswahili na vernacular language. 20 years from now, my friend, when our kids are grown up,
it will be disaster.
English will not be, if you speak English, I think utafukuzwa mahali huko. People will have, you know, English is becoming, nitasema nini? It's becoming a nuisance as it is right now. People are coming up. Some of the words ninaangalia vijana wakiongea mpaka saizi. People yes. Sheng is, you see how Sheng, Cheng. Okay, sawa. You see how Sheng
tunajua unatoka wapi.
Evolves. You see. You see how Sheng evolves every other day.
It's the way English.
It's evolving every other day. Now ninaona unaenda mahali hizi maeneo ya burudani. If you speak in plain language the English that we do, unaangaliwa hivi wanajua huyu ni Wagashie. Huyu ni wa Homa Bay. Because now they have this
you're profiled already.
Yes. Kuna hiya there is the English, the Briton. Ile ya Briton ile.
Inatoka na esophagus.
Yes. Ile ya Briton. Now hiyo ndio English yenye wanaongea sasa. English ya US ishafagiliwa.
Yeah, but so as time goes, I think we are going to have sanity in the society.
Exactly,
and, since our kids spend most time in school, you know, it's the school that really molds these kids. Tutomba wanafunzi. And with a very good collaboration with teachers, with the parents, tuikuze lugha ya Kiswahili. Hata hii lugha ya nyumbani tusisahau sana. Hapa mtandaoni naona kama kuna watu ambao wametuma mashoutouts hapa sana. Tuko na Felix Bosso Chieng amekusalamia.
Nimesalamika sana.
Emase amesema ametupa hapo emojis sijui kuna pale mmekanyagana.
Tumekanyagana kidogo tu show kianza.
Tuko na mwalimu Felix Okoth Kotwanya tunasema shukrani sana. We have Clement Fakani, a very good friend of ours, and thank you for supporting the show. Godfrey Omondi. Now there's this thing that when you are a Luo and you speak a lot of fluent Kiswahili, wanasema wewe ni conman.
Sasa nimeona umekashifiwa kukashifiwa hapa.
Nakwambia.
Unaulizwa Kiswahili ulitoa wapi? Unajua, I remember the first time we did the show, ulisema ile msemo ya samaki mkunjue.
Samaki mkunje, ngali mbichi.
I saw there was a lot of kickback from people from Homa Bay. I've gotten to know I'm very famous in Homa Bay more than I am even in Nairobi. Lakini watu wa Homa Bay, shukrani sana.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Your name has become big. The last time I was in Homa Bay, bana.
It's been a household name in Homa Bay.
Kila mtu anauliza bana, wapi hadi tuko bana.
Thank you very much watu wa Homa Bay. Felix, thank you very much. MS, thank you very much. Wakili, sijui mahali amepotelea, nilikuwa nimemuona ameingia kidogo tena akaenda. Thank you very much.
Bundles imeisha.
Bundles usiseme hivyo. Unaibisha wakili ya High Court ndani ya show. Thank you very much. Ndongo, that is the mheshimiwa I was telling you about. He shared our show, umeangalia hapo. Thank you very much bwana Ndongo. Ni mheshimiwa, he's how do I put this? He's been my longest friend. Kutoka utotoni. Let me say that. Amekuwa rafiki wa 30. He is a very good friend.
You've been friends for 30 years. You're rafiki wa 30 ni gani? Okay, sawa, I get you.
Sasa unaona, nilikuwa nataka kukuambia kitu na Kiswahili ikakataa kutoka. Imekataa kutoka kabisa.
Just bring it back.
Thank you very much. Whom else do we need to say? Felix, thank you very much, my brother. Those are people from Homa Bay. Tunashukuru sana.
Hapa pia niko na Victor Katontuo. Anasema salimia Tuku mwita
mtu ya West Pokot.
Yeye ndo tuliana na yeye bwana, akakoroga lugha bwana.
Unajua tuliana na Katonto mahali kunaitwaje huko Molo, kunaitwaje nitakumbuka jina sikumbuki. Mahali kuna baridi. We spent a whole week with Katonto. Keringet, upite Keringet huko mwisho kabisa, sikumbuki venye kunaitwa. Tulikaa huko na Katonto bwana, tunapigwa na baridi. Unaekewa chai na waka hivi moto, alafu maziwa huko iko in plenty. Mpaka kwa hoteli unaekewa chai na kama maziwa. Lakini by the time hiyo chai imesetoliwa hapo, wazee wanakuangalia tu umengoja ipoe.
By the time unafika kwa mdomo
ishapoa. Olenguruoni. Olenguruoni. Tulienda ile wakati ambao barabara iko imetengenezwa. Nasikia hiyo barabara ilitengenezwa all the way from Molo to Olengoroni going through inaitwa Keringet na huko. So we passed by the barabara around 1 at night. Tulifika Nakuru. Yes, we had some interviews to do in the morning. So there is no way we are going to spend the night in Nakuru. There is no way we are going to spend the night in Molo. So we had to do the whole stretch. So matatu haiko imejaa. Tukapata Probox yenye itatupeleka mpaka huko we could hide. Lakini sasa tunaambiwa hiyo barabara tuchunge, kuna mahali kuna msitu. Sasa tunaangalia na Katonto, kaambiana na Katonto, we intakiseketi kidogo tu. If anything happens, si tutajulia mbele
kama wanaume.
But Katonto is a good friend.
Yeah, he is.
Thank you, Katonto. He is the only West Pokotian who has a degree in microbiology.
You know that?
Yes.
You should look for nani? Ole Nyangapua mpatie.
Ole Nyangapua. He has one in math.
Tukimalizia hapa naona kuna Aziz Stephen pia amesema ni confirm tu if I'm alive because anajua Kiswahili imeninyonga. I'm alive brother. Crispin amesema bwana kisungu chako bwana. Najua pale tutakutana, na pia tuko hapa na LJ Babatevo, kijana kutoka Homa Bay. Tunasema ni shukrani sana. Hiyo sehemu yako kuna nani tena?
Nani hapa? Nimeona kama ni hao tu tuko nao. Sioni kama tuko na watu wengine. Acha niangalie. Felix Kibe, thank you very much. Hii kizungu ya Homa Bay sitazana nayo. Hiyo ya Homa Bay acha tuachie tu hapo. Tumesema asante sana. Unaambiwa upunguze, uongee jina moja ya kizungu. Unaambiwa, let me repeat this. Unaambiwa bwana watch kizungu, alafu anasema iwita.
Watch kizungu iwita. Amesema speaking in English.
You speak in English.
Yeah.
Umetupa sana. Kuna Mrs. Lilo, the mother to my children.
Oh, yuko hapo pia.
Ako hapo pia.
Yeah, msalimie sana.
Kuna Mr. Moses Keru, unakumbuka hii jamaa?
Keru ameingia mtandaoni.
Keru tunapelekanaga mbio.
Mambo ya siasa najua.
Mambo ya tunakimbizanaga naye kidogo kidogo.
Amesema is listening, tunasema ni shukran sana. Na pia just to remind you, you can always join the conversation by following us on our social media handles. That is on Facebook at Thuku Mwita Thuku and Sharon Paul SP. And ile sehemu mwingine ya YouTube, you can always find us as well on Thuku Mwita Thuku and at Sharon Paul Media. Your conversation by communicating to us through chatting and the comments that you send live and after this show, it really keeps us going. Please keep us going. Let us know what you like us to bring to you, and let's make the community grow. Mr. Thuku.
Bon SP.
Parting shot.
Allow me to put you on the spot kidogo.
Yeah.
Please. Throughout the whole conversation we had this evening,
yes,
what did you tell? And please tell them in Luo, people who are in Homa Bay Walimu, who are forcing children, even here in Nairobi, who are forcing their children or their people to do a lot of English when they could doing maybe Luo, a part of Luo. We are not saying that the whole learning process should be in Luo. Part of it, at least have one conversation in Luo. What would you tell them in Luo?
Nejo ponje duto kanyakla achiel gi rowere madhi school. Dine ber maber saidi ka deponi watemo kelo dhok mar dholuo kanyakla achiel gi dho Kiswahili e skundewa. Kik waketa ni wadiyo nyithindo gi dho ngere ma ong'ere maber ni dho Kiingereza kata dho English. Gi society montie sani nikech in the job market mwango sani we really need a lot of diversity na kijaluo na siezi sema koro the more ma wapuonjo gi dho Kiswahili kiko beda ka somo but obed ni en dhok maginyalo communicate go mayot biro bedo maber saidi nikech biro medo ya pach rowere gi kagimedo tiegre e skunde magintie kendo ka koro tieko somo miyogi giyudo tich mayot nikech koro ginyawacho dho Kiingereza as a subject, Kiswahili as the most common used language e Kenya waka, kanyakla achiel gi dholuo gi dhok mora mora ma onego bed ipuonjo gi ma kuonde ma wantie ma wasomi. En bana kamano ni hayo tu kwa sasa.
Kuna mtu ananiambia hapa niache kusema na sisikini nini inasemwa.
What translate here?
Thank you very much Mr. Lihanda Isaac. Lihanda anaitwa Aizo. Nikijana tumefanya kazi naye sana. Thank you very much Mr. Lihanda. Now, mimi sitawaambia anything in Kikuyu, but this is what I'm going to tell you. Please let us encourage the national language. Lugha yetu ya taifa ambayo ni Kiswahili. If you can indulge your children in your vernacular languages. Vernacular languages without the political aspect of it whereby tribalism, it's called is it the suffix? Lism.
Lism is
the suffix. Yeah. Now that is the only problem. If we can embrace the languages and please let us be proud within our diversity. Him talking in Luo inaingia ndani Homa Bay more than it will in Nanyuki. You get?
Yeah.
Mimi nikiwaambia please leke itwali Gikuyu, leke ituiguithania na Gikuyu, tuere ciana citu ciarie Gikuyu. Tomwaka we can do 3 languages. My friend, you've seen people doing 20 languages. Nema. You've seen people doing 20 languages.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you have someone speaking Kikuyu, you have someone speaking Swahili and English, I don't see how difficult that is. If you you know some children here in preschool wanafunzwa kuongea Spanish, French,
exactly,
and they're in preschool. Unaona, if you can do that, what is the issue with you just pitching in hapo ndani uingize hiyo
Kakikuyu fulani hivi kakajaluo fulani alafu cha msingi zaidi ni hiyo Kiswahili.
Niliona kulifunguliwa bribe ni Nanyuki. Uri mudo ahuteka ku othe motoraga ciana ku. Uri mwana oraria Gikuyu ku. Kuna mtoto anaweza ongea Kikuyu. Hakuna English tupu.
Ai bana. Wakuandike ufundishe nini? Kwa sababu abachada nini?
Do you know there is a friend of ours and I know Muga. You know Muga? You know Muga?
Yeah.
You know Javan Muga?
Yeah.
He's a friend of yours. You know him. You used to, where he is?
Currently we talk a lot on
he's in China and he's making very good money.
Allah?
Yes.
Anasema
he's making very,
thank you in French.
Oh yeah, in Chinese. He's making very good money. And you see, he told me he learned the language immediately he got there. The what do you call it? The Mandarin? It's called Mandarin. What do you call it? There's a very difficult language in China.
In China,
yeah,
the native China.
Yeah, I think it's Mandarin or something. And he's also teaching people Swahili there and other local languages. If people in China will want to pay for their children to learn a Kenyan language, why don't you just do the same? And you see these opportunities are there. There's another lady, a very good friend of mine in Nanyuki, Stella. Stella is also in China. Once they came, the Chinese companies, wakati wake Kibaki wali come and set up camp in Kenya, they started teaching their children Kenyan languages.
Kiswahili.
You see? So that is someone, anaangalia mbali. Kama huyu mtoto anaweza jua Kiswahili sahi, there's opportunity in Kenya. They can go there and learn something. And for you, because there needs to be teachers there. Your child, your son, your daughter might be the one going to China and teaching these people this language. Kuna kazi rahisi kama hiyo. Teaching someone something you've grown up doing.
Hiki ni kiti,
zile ni viti. Vile ni viti.
Tukiangazia katika ngeli ya kivi, umoja na wingi. Ushaelewa. Malizia bwana. Kama hujamalizia, kuna mwandada fulani hapa, rafiki yangu sana, Faith Faimon Wangari. Uhoro wako imepotea. Billy Alela, there is an alumni, shukran sana. Ulishataja Moses hapo, unaona kama Bitwes Makao pia amesema she's locked in. Alafu tuko na bwana Isaac Lihanda.
He was my colleague.
Jamaa yako sana.
Sasa huyu anaitwa Billy Alela. He's your colleague. Sasa hii jina ya mwisho Billy unatoa wapi bwana? Hii jina
Batowski. He's an alumni of the University of South Nyanza. Shule ambayo tulienda shule ya upili.
Oh, okay. Iko kule mashinani.
Si mashinani aso, lakini kwa hapo mjini tu.
Ni mashinani tu.
Nairobi, nini Homa Bay. Yeah, so that's all simultaneous, but cha msingi zaidi ni walimu wazingatie lugha ya Kiswahili.
Exactly.
Kama wazazi tusipotoze watoto wetu, tujaribu kuwafunza lugha ya mama na baba. Sasa the grandparents, them growing up, they should at least know when Shosh and Guka are visiting, make kijana uhoro wako. What's up dude, what you saying?
Yes.
Sikwe hivyo bana.
You good.
Kiacha tunena Kijaluo. Kada yokatakuwa ruomo sigidolwane misawanya kwara. Nimesema tu kama Guka na Shusha amekusalamia, good morning my grandson. Unajibu tu, kwa mtoto anajibu kwa urahisi.
Nilikuambia ile post nilisoma hapa juzi when the holidays zililapse. Niliona mtu amepost hapa, alienda Yeshagi na mtoto wa the niece. So the niece is there listening to him and the other people speaking in Kikuyu. So anaambia the niece, anakuja anaambia the uncle, ati uncle, I also want to learn to speak Inoro. So Inoro
little did he know that Inoro ni
the station, but to her, because she normally can see the parents turning on to Inoro. Now that is the language. She does not even know Kikuyu is the language. Inoro is a TV station. And all the same, other things, as I was saying, you acheni kuambia serikali itupatie kazi kasa. This is avenues of you making employment. So if you're crippling employment as early as a child when he's 5 years old, then how do we expect huyu mtoto apate kazi in the future? We can not all fit in this studio.
Yeah, exactly.
We cannot all. Hatuwezi fit sisi wote. Sio sisi wote tunaweza fit State House, sio sisi wote tunaweza fit mali ingine. So we need to create jobs as early as we can see them. So sijui kama tunaweza ondokea hapo.
Nadhani kufikia hapo tumefika kikomo. Shukrani za dhati sana kwa watazamaji wetu kwa yale maoni yote ambayo tumetoa. Tunasema thank you so much. They really keep us going, and we would really like to get that kind of engagement so that we can grow together and make the focus group a big society. From us here in the studio, it is 10 minutes to 10. What? It is 10 minutes to 10. Na tunasema tumefika kikomo. Hadi kipindi kingine mweze kuwa na usiku mwanana. Mungu awalinde hadi tutakaporudi tena hewani. Situpatile the grace na tumalize.
Sasa tukimalizia naweza penda tushukuru Mungu sababu ya hayo machache ambayo tumeenda nayo. I've really sweat. So
it's hot inside here.
Tuendelee na maombi kidogo. And now may the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us now and forevermore. Amen and amen, amen, amen.
Hadi simu imezima we?